on the edge of Houston's Refinery Road, just south of Interstate 10 along the coast. The governor of the state of Texas is busy at work, but it's not what you might think.
Some days I come to work in blue jeans and work boots, and other days I'm in a coat and tie and I go make speeches.
Mike Jackson's a man with many roles. Managing this construction company in LaPorte, serving in the state Senate, running for Congress, and for 15 days so far, filling in for Governor Rick Perry while he's out on the presidential campaign trail.
We don't have any big state crisis or any thing take place that would require any immediate action, but you also know that in the event you do, that's your job to do it.
You know this guy here on the right where my thumb is?
He looks like he might be a nice man. I don't know. Is he good?
What about this guy?
I don't know anything about him, so I'd have to do some research.
My husband, who watches a lot of news, never told me about it.
Here's how it works. When the real governor's out of state, there's a chain of command. First, the lieutenant governor, then the Senate pro tempore, that's Jackson, then the Speaker of the House, the Attorney General, and finally, the Chief Justices of the Courts of Appeals. The acting governor's system is nothing new, but it really flew under the radar since Governor Richard Koch's administration back in 1876, when it probably took a fair amount of time to get back to the state to take charge. It has come up in recent years with presidential campaigns, like 2 governors ago when Ann Richards campaigned out of state for Bill Clinton, and most recently George W. Bush when he ran for president.
You'd think he was in Texas if you didn't know better.
For the first 152 days of Perry's own presidential campaign, his office says he's been out of state 119 times. That's 119 times someone else has been the acting governor. One case, during the September wildfires, Perry rushed back to the state, but flew the next day to California for a debate, leaving Lieutenant Governor David Dewhurst in charge.
We've got a wonderful working relationship, and he knows how this process works as well.
My friend, our next president, Rick Perry.
But during the Iowa caucuses a few weeks ago, Dewhurst joined Perry on the trail. So Jackson took the lead. It's even fallen to the third in line for a day. Speaker Joe Straus.
Governor Perry stays in constant contact with our office, and the governor's office continues to operate as usual.
Also operating as usual, Perry's salary. Even when out of state, he receives his daily $410. And so does the acting governor if it's a full 24-hour period, costing the state an extra $30,000 over the course of the campaign.
Does it surprise you that someone else is stepping into that role?
Well, someone has to.
I guess stuff has to get done.
I think it's absurd. If I left my job for 15 days, I probably wouldn't have a job.
And nothing but a bunch of bureaucratic bullshit.
Perry's officials say that money's in the budget, but they also admit modern technology usually eliminates the need for an acting governor.
We have internet and cell phones. It's a lot easier for Governor Perry to continue to conduct state business even when he's outside of Texas.
Jackson says his title of acting governor has mostly been just that, a title. To some, it's costly and archaic, but to him, it's simply an honor.
People want to shake my hand and say, hey, I just shook hands with the governor.
Magnolia, Texas, a town of barely 2,000 outside of Houston. Most families here have come to know Glenn Addison well.
It's really been a blessing to minister to families that are hurting.
Over the last decade, he's helped them with difficult decisions when a loved one dies. He runs 2 funeral homes.
So I, especially as a small business person, can relate to the heavy foot of the federal government being on my neck.
But now he's ready to take that business experience and make the leap from mortician to politician.
Government doesn't create jobs, but it certainly can cause manufacturers and companies to be frustrated enough to where they send their jobs to other countries.
As a candidate for an opening Texas seat in the U.S. Senate, he's running on a platform of states' rights and reforming federal agencies he sees going against a weapon he's never without.
This Constitution says that I'm to work for we the people of the United States of America, not foreign countries.
But a softback copy of the Constitution might only go so far. His opponents have more money and bigger names. The lieutenant governor,
as a lifelong businessman,
the former solicitor general,
fighting for conservative principles,
the former Dallas mayor,
I've created jobs, signed both sides of a paycheck,
even a former pro football player.
The Constitution is the Constitution.
But during this month's GOP debate in Austin, Addison held his own, drawing comparisons to Ron Paul and grabbing the crowd's attention for his out-of-the-ordinary occupation.
As a funeral director, I've got some good jokes. Life is too short not to laugh.
And he's using the job some might find uncomfortable to set voters' minds at ease.
When Ted Cruz talked about throwing his body in front of the train of Obamacare, I said, well, if you do that, you'll need to call me, which prompted Craig James to say, well, I want you to do my funeral, Glenn, or whatever.
Even if elected, he'll be back doing funerals soon enough.
Absolutely, bring him on.
He's pledged to serve just one term, so voters will know he's focused on them and not re-election.
Democrats and Republicans have to unite.
A Saturday morning jog around Austin's Lady Bird Lake is typical for the health conscious. But for the politically active, it takes some real dedication to keep up.
Nothing else would get me up at 9:30 to go jog on a Saturday.
Running for Ron Paul.
Chilly enough where you can run and not get too hot.
It's not an official group, just a bunch of people with some sneakers and a message looking for an active platform.
We got to quit this war, we got to quit the spending, we got to quit the Federal Reserve. So him getting in office is only the beginning.
A handful have signs and take to the trail.
Support your troops, ladies. Vote Ron Paul.
While the rest man home base here under the Mopac Bridge.
We're gay, we're white, we're black, we're straight, you know. I mean, we're a variety of people.
As their leader, Congressman Ron Paul gains momentum in his presidential campaign.
I could probably have gotten a lot more done professionally had it not been for this campaign.
The runners have also had to work hard since starting 6 months ago.
And we get some pretty snide remarks, and it was kind of discouraging at the beginning.
He's racist, or he don't have a chance of winning.
But weekend after weekend is starting to pay off.
You just have to be nice to him, you know, and do exactly what Ron Paul would do.
They're ready to run through the Texas primary in April.
Woo, Ron Paul.
And with some success, the general election in November.
And now we get a lot more cheers, a lot more thumbs up. People run up next to us when we're running and tell us that they're going to vote for Ron Paul.
College. So many clubs, so many chances to get involved. For many students, that points the way to politics. Well, we met one University of Texas student who's created his own organization and taken it statewide, thanks to funny man Stephen Colbert.
I truly believe that this is a problem that needs to be fixed.
It all started with a UT government lesson about a Citizens United Supreme Court ruling. The issue, unlimited contributions to political action committees that turn around and support candidates. It prompted sophomore Paul Benefiel to write to a man he knew also had a problem with this questionable process. Comedy Central's Stephen Colbert.
Pretty much my idol.
I got this actual email from someone named Paul Benefiel, a student at the University of Texas at Austin. The fightin' only part of Texas is liberal.
He was crazy. He was silent. He ran around the apartment, jumped up and down, fell to the ground.
He writes, quote, after conversing with my peers, I've had an overwhelming urge to start a Colbert Super PAC organization at my school. We would table in front of our main building, hold meetings, gather emails for a mailing list, and hold talks at other political organization meetings. Wait a second. Gather emails and hold organizational meetings? Calm down, party animal. Your parents sent you there to study.
It was the weirdest reaction I've ever seen, but there was so much excitement in the room and a lot of pausing and rewinding.
So, Mr. Benefiel, your organization will now be known as Texans for a Better Tomorrow.
Now armed with his own super PAC to battle other super PACs, Benefiel's already setting his sights on Texans like Governor Rick Perry and Congressman Lamar Smith.
What we're going to be doing with this is pointing out the people that are abusing this ruling and using this huge amount of corporate money to get elected.
He's filed the Federal Elections Commission paperwork, has more volunteers every day, and now waits for his super PAC Fun Pack to arrive.
You'll also get this dorm room door sign that reads, "Do not enter, official super PAC business in progress." And on the back it says, "If the super PAC is caucusing, don't bother knocking."
If things turn out the way he wants, Benefiel says Colbert could soon visit UT.
And I want him to come here because there is no better place to start something like this than Austin, Texas.
This is the first of Stephen Colbert's super PACs to hit a college campus. Now it's at the University of Missouri and also Purdue, and it continues to spread to other college campuses nationwide. At the University of Texas, Josh.Steven.Hinkle, KXAN News.